Hello, friends. Hello, hello, hello. This is social science time, but we're at a new space, at a new spot. We're actually switching over to social studies. Remember, last year, if you were with me last year, we did one part of the year we did social studies, and the second part of the year we did science. Well, this year, the first part of the year we did science, and now we're going to move on into social studies. So, in looking over this, we're going to kind of pick up where we left off last year at the end of last year, or a semester last year with social studies. So we're not actually going to start from the beginning of the book because we know a lot of this already. But we are going to take that last chapter, chapter 6. We got about halfway through chapter 6 and didn't quite finish it. So we're going to finish that. So we have one more thing to do in science, and that's tomorrow. Fun Friday, like always. We'll have Fun Friday tomorrow. But like always on Fun Friday, we do either a science experiment or we'll start doing our country studies. But right now, so tomorrow we'll finish up that last science experiment. I know we did. Remember, we made the snow last week, and I want to do the last experiment with that. So that's what we'll do tomorrow at this time. But for today, we're going to go ahead and start in on our social studies book. So we're going to introduce chapter 6. You don't need to worry about a book because I have it on the video and you'll be able to see it. We'll read it just like we did our reading story for today. And we'll read it and we'll follow along. And then that'll be it. Probably today, all we'll get through is the reading on this. So let's pull this up. Forgot what I was doing here. All right. There it is. I knew it was in there. Okay, here we go. And this is chapter 6 in our social studies book. And the introduction to the chapter has some Bible verses on this. So we're going to read the Bible verse and then we're going to read just some of these little pieces in here, including the new words. So what I need you to do right now is go ahead and I was going to have you get out a piece of paper, but I think probably not for this. So let's go ahead and we'll have Rylan read the first one, the first Bible verse for us. And here we go. We're right up in here. I hate it when it does that. There it is. Okay. Ready, Rylan? Here we go. Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. Okay. And if you remember in our Bible, in our King James Version, they have some of these words that we don't use very much anymore, but they kind of have the same meanings as words that we do now. Thou shalt. That means you will not or should not. Oh, sorry. This is you should. You will. Thou shalt. You will worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt, meaning should, thou, you serve. So you can kind of say, you shall worship the Lord thy God, and him only should you serve. Okay? This is from Matthew 4:10. Thank you, Rylan. And go to the next one. Kylie, what is our focus for this today? Our focus says, people came to New England to live the way God wanted them to live. All right. And down here, Brianna, we have some vocabulary words today. We've got the word education, Puritan, pilgrim, and religion. This tells us what our activity will be. We're going to do this activity a little later. Maybe not this week, maybe when we get back, I'm not really sure. But let's go ahead and read our text pages here. Finish with Brianna. Okay. This section is called the New England Colonies. And if you look at this picture, you can kind of see what are some things that you see in here. I see some houses. Do they look like the houses that we have today? They're a little bit different, aren't they? One, they're smaller. I see a lot of trees in the area. I see some chimneys, which makes me think that you would cook over an open fire at houses like these. I see fences and I see gardens, lots of gardens in here. It looks like back in the old days, people grew a lot of the food that they needed. That picture. So let's see what this is all about. The first English colonies. I see Plymouth over here, and I see Jamestown. And then I see a picture of a ship right here called the Mayflower. And if you remember last year, the Mayflower was the ship that brought the settlers to America. Let's see, Brianna read, so now it would be Preston's turn. Okay, Preston. Plymouth. On a cold November day, an English ship reached the New World. The Mayflower had been blown and tossed at sea. The sailors planned to land just north of Jamestown, but storms carried the ship much farther north. God had brought the Mayflower to the northeast coast of America. Next up is Hunter. For you, Hunter. Many of the people on the Mayflower were a group called the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims had lived in England. The King of England would not let them worship God in their own church. His law said everyone must go to the Church of England. We all don't go to the same church, do we? We all go to different churches. We worship the same God, but we're free to go to different churches. Page 93, this brings us to Jeff. Jeff, right here. The Pilgrims did not believe the Church of England was right. They wanted to obey God and the Bible. The Pilgrims decided to leave England and the church. They came to America in 1620. Trying to think who's after Jeff. Austin's back there. Austin, I always forget you're sitting back there. Austin. The Pilgrims were thankful to be in America. Now they could worship God in the right way. They had come to America because of their religion. Religion is a person's belief about where he came from, how to worship, and how to live. For Jamia. Before leaving the ship, the Pilgrims signed an agreement. This agreement was called the Mayflower Compact. It said they needed laws in the New World. They agreed to make just laws. Now, just in this case means fair laws. Let's go back and think, what freedom did the Pilgrims want to have in the New World? Remember, what was it that they could not do in England, but came to the New World so they could do it? And that was to worship God in their own churches. So they didn't have to worship at the Church of England. They didn't have to do it the way the king did it. They could worship how they wanted to. And that's one of the reasons that they came to the New World. Four. Yep. Oh, we're right there. I think that might be it. Yep, I think that might be it. Okay, so we're going to stop there today. I knew we weren't going to get through all of it, but we're at the point where we're talking about the Pilgrims coming over to the New World from England and some of the reasons that they did this. All right, so if you think back and think in your mind, why did they make this journey? What were they looking for? They were looking for the chance to worship God in their own church in their own way. They didn't feel the king's way to look at it was correct, and they decided they wanted to come over to a place where they could be free to do that as they wished. Okay, good job on that reading today. We're going to close up on that. Tomorrow, remember, we're going to do our last science experiment, and then Tuesday, when we come back from our holiday, we will go back into this and we'll finish up the reading on this. Okay? Great job today, and I will see you in just a moment for Bible class.